All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of our Modern Agent Blueprint. And today we are going to attempt to show you the perfect listing presentation. And we kind of changed it up a little bit because what's the perfect listing presentation without the perfect pre-listing presentation? And we kind of decided when we were putting this together that if you can do 80% of the work in advance and really have something solid to deliver to your clients in advance, it is something that will really help you secure that listing. When you walk in that door, you'll have that swag and you'll be ready to close on the deal. So I wanted to introduce today's guests. First, my wife, Julie. Thanks for being on today. And then I'd like to introduce Ben. What's that?
You're welcome.
From the other
I just
part
want
of
to
the
add
house.
to that. I mean, they always say list to last, and more than ever, listings are at such a premium. And I feel like agents might do whatever it takes to get them, right? In fact, they might devalue themselves by reducing commission and those sorts of things. And we really have to be able to provide our value. And by doing it in advance, like Lee said, I think it just takes all that heavy lifting away from the front end of it, doing it on the front end, and you can show up knowing that they're already very well acquainted with you, and now it's time to focus more on them and their needs than yourself. Because I mean, I don't like the bragging part of it. If you want to call it that, right? Let's just get that. Not that you can't touch on it when you're there, but if they already know a ton about you, I mean, let's face it, there's not how much time do we want to spend on that once we're there? So, but anyway, without further ado, we've been working with Ben for a while, and I've always really admired his approach to the listing presentation, particularly the pre-listing part of it, and very, very detailed. He's got some things in his presentation that I don't, and I'm actually gonna sit here and take notes from him. And we'll be here to moderate as well, but I really wanted Ben to kind of show you guys what it is that he does, because I believe he's the master of it. So
but before Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get right into the presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm out of Clarkston, first and foremost. I've been selling since 2006, licensed broker since 2012. I've had a couple different teams, and for personal reasons, on my way back up with a new team right now. So we have 7 agents, 2 full-time admins, and I'm 95% listing for my own personal production. And so I only close a handful of buyers every year, and hopefully this year it's only 1 or 2, just for friends of mine. So that's kind of like where I like to be. And I have my daughter limited time, so when I do have her, I want to be. Listings allow you to control your schedule, and I think that's the best part of it. You're actually allowed to go on vacation. You're allowed to pre-plan a dinner date or whatever the case might be, without being on call. So that's the reason why I mainly focus on listings. Plus the dollar per hour ratio is much greater.
What is that dollar per hour? I mean, I know that all the experts say,
I think it's 8 times greater. I think if you do the math, it comes out to be probably 6 to 8 times greater.
That's crazy. And before we get into the nuts and bolts, I know that there might be a lot of newer agents on. And what advice would you give them before we even get started with your presentation on how to focus on more listings? Because a lot of times it's just natural that a newer agent's going to gravitate towards buyers because it's an easier barrier of entry.
Yeah, I did that when I first started my career. I think the first 3 years that I sold real estate, I only worked with buyers because I think I was scared, to be quite frank. And I just fell into my first listing, and it was interesting. So When the market crashed in 2009, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a gentleman on the radio. His name was Will Elias, and he ran a ton of ads for short sales. And so I realized at that moment that there could be and there should be a Pepsi to his Coke, because he had the short sale game covered on or cornered on radio ads. So I started throwing up my ads, my radio ads against him, and became the short sale guy in the area. And, 100 listings a year, no problem, while I was doing those radio ads. And that's kind of gave me the confidence to just, listings are where it's at.
Yep.
In my mind.
That's awesome. And the funny thing is, I didn't know you back then, but that's when I had that short sale Realty Commander, which was Short Sale Commander software.
Yeah.
And we had, we had clients in Michigan, California, Florida, all the hardest hit areas of short sales. We had thousands of customers. So I'm surprised that we didn't know each other back then.
Yeah. So it is interesting that we never crossed paths, but to answer the question, I would just, for the newer agent, it's kind of, get over that fear. Just take the leap, work with that first seller and focus on getting that first one under your belt and grow that confidence level.
That's great. And you guys will see as we go through the presentation that Ben is, his presentation is going to, and I know this sounds corny, but it's going to knock your socks off. It's so good. And he spent so long perfecting it that you'll definitely be very impressed. So,
yeah. And I do want to go back to, I did this just for the reasons that Julie stated earlier. I like to leave the ego aside. And when I get to their house, I want to focus on them and make sure that I'm focused on identifying the pain points for them and then strategizing a solution and offering that solution instead of talking about how many houses I've sold and blah, blah, blah. I let the marketing materials do the bragging.
That's great.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Julie, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we should just kind of get into it. I know Ben has a lot to share and I'm excited to review it again myself. So I'd like maybe we could start with some of the pre-listing stuff you do, because I think that's
yeah, let's
pretty
do
awesome.
that.
And it's something I do too. And we do it in different ways. I know you do it via email. I do it via High Note right now. And we can talk about that too, methodology, but
Yeah.
I'd like to present to everyone what it is that you send to a potential listing client before you
Yeah.
ever get there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Lee, can you enable the share screen for me?
Yeah. Let me hang on. I think I have to.
It's
I
in
have to
security at the bottom.
Yep. There we go.
All right, perfect. So yeah, let's go over the credibility packet first. Is that what you were saying, Julie? So can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
All right, cool. So this is the credibility packet that goes out, and it asks, how we select the right agent. And I'll show you in a second that the actual email that gets fired out that contains this within it, but it's very much speaking to the seller. And we tried to limit the words as much as possible, and I mentioned in here quite a few times, it's what we can do for you. It's not about us. It's all about you. So it's just kind of walking them through the journey. And I found that a lot of people are, they don't know what to expect at a listing appointment. So like identifying or mapping it out for them takes away some of the anxiety. So right here in my video, I walk through these, but it's telling them exactly what to expect at the appointment.
I love that too, because now you have an agenda too, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
get there, how are things gonna go? They don't, they know that when you get there, the first thing you're gonna do is walk through the house versus what should we do? You want to sit
Yeah.
down first? You want some coffee? And you're like, no, it's just, I think it makes it easier for both parties.
Absolutely, 100%. Then we have some of the things that we offer: YouTube ads, the live phone prospecting, 60-second promo video, things that are very specific to us, 2 consumer open houses on that first weekend out. Then we have the recent sales, and we've averaged them up, and I was showing Julie earlier how I came up with, so this is our MLS board for last year. The average list to sale price was 100.8%. Our average list to sale price ratio is 102.65%. So we're telling, and this was the days on market for the board and for us. So we're telling people, listen, we get 13 days faster with us and also 1.8% more money than the
Which
average.
that is so powerful, right there,
Mm-hmm.
That 2%.
And then we're walking them through less hassle. I know what the sellers want. They want the least amount of hassle and the shortest amount of time and the most money in their pocket. So if you notice in here, there's speed, there's most money, and there's least hassle repeatedly. Then the question comes, what would you do with an additional 1.8% of your home's value? Again, it might seem redundant, but I know our society right now, we're just flickering. Everything's flickering. So I'm just putting it highest price, shortest time, least hassle over and over again. And talk about our in-house marketing department. Some social proof, actual stories, because we found that people really that stories really resonate with them and they can connect to an actual story. So we wrote some of these stories, like waiting over a year. He went through a couple of different realtors. I listed it and we sold in 5 days. So just some of these stories people have found to be extremely helpful. And then I work a lot of for sale by owners, so they're typically interviewing multiple realtors. So I've already prepared and I've already selected these questions to make me shine. So I give them the questions to ask if they're interviewing, and then I give them an actual scorecard.
I love this. This is great.
With
This
the
is my
answers,
favorite.
the answers are filled out for me. And then you've got agent 1 and agent 2. And
Just
again,
make sure you get there first, right?
yeah.
No, what are some of read a couple of the questions. What are your favorite ones that make you really stand out?
Yeah. So this one, do you provide a single property website and custom domains? Do you give back to the local community? How many years have you been a full-time agent? Your average days on market, your list to sale price ratio. Can I cancel the listing at any time? Yes, that one's going to stick out. Do you have full-time buyers agents? Are you open 7 days a week? I think all of them, really.
Yeah, they're all good questions.
Yeah. And then we also know that most sellers are most concerned with commitment and communication. So we have our easy exit listing, no questions asked, and also our communication guarantee. So we're beating that. We're getting ahead of it, because we know when I get to the appointment, they're going to ask me this commitment. I don't like the commitment. My last experience with a realtor, the communication was terrible. So this is really taking care of a lot of objections that I would get at the actual appointment.
You're actually answering every question they're going to ask you in the first
Exactly.
place.
In advance. So you see how important this is.
Yeah.
Everything's answered in advance. So it almost reminds me of Jerry Maguire, where you had me at hello when they show up,
And then the last page on here is just our VIP network. So we do 4 events per year. This coming, our next event is free Mother's Day flowers. So you get, you become part of our Forever Network. We have free swag, just some benefits to be part of our community. And we kind of, we definitely tell people that we're kind of like family, right? And so give them a reason to kind of be part of our community.
Love it.
And that's it. That's the credibility packet. That's what goes out to them.
That's so good.
So just so everyone knows, that's just the package that goes out beforehand. So, I mean, so when you show up to the house, you've already sold yourself.
Hopefully they've read it. So you might
Exactly.
sure
That's
they've
the
gone
first
through
question
it.
on my list is, have you reviewed it?
Yeah, definitely.
And
John
what
says
percent?
great visuals, Ben, love the stories. Kate's asking, will this be something you can share? So we can add
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
our
we can share it.
presentation. John says, love the credibility packet, Ben, just awesome. Kate says, thank you. Yeah, I mean, come on, let's talk about taking the stress away. Because I mean, listing appointments to me, when I know I'm competing with other agents, it's hard to sleep the night before, right? Because like, you know how important it is, and you want to shine. And I really love that agenda, because that's something I haven't given to people in advance. And that way they know exactly what to expect when you get there. And everything just flows, because they know what they're supposed to be doing first and how the conversation is going to go. So love it. Lee, you were asking a question of Ben.
I forgot. That's what
I
old
think
age
you were going
does.
to ask, like, what's his
Oh yeah, what
conversion
percentage
rate?
of the people view it before you get there?
Pretty much
Okay.
everybody answers
Yeah.
yes. Pretty much everybody answers yes.
I was
mean,
going to ask, like, do you ever lose a listing with this in advance, unless someone's cutting commission or something? Then what?
Yeah.
You
And the
know?
nice thing is, when I'm talking to people on the phone and, they're asking, do you cut commission? And I explain to them, yes, I have a tiered program.
And that's something that's in the listing presentation itself.
It's in the
right?
listing presentation itself. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
don't tell them, well, they say how much. I say, well, it's tiered. So we'd have to sit down and see what specifically applies to you. My main objective is just to get my foot in the door.
Right.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So go back to the question that Julie asked, like what percentage of when you go there and they did read it in advance, like what's your closing ratio?
I think I have a pretty high closing ratio. And shame on me for not knowing what it is.
Oh, that's understandable.
I
wouldn't expect you to have those stats.
But
I'll bet it's the
I
highest
feel-
closing ratio of anyone on this Zoom right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I think I did 40 listings last year, and that was while building a team. So I probably
huge.
could have done 80 listings if I wasn't building the team.
Right.
Maybe
And you're probably not always competing either. If we were asking you how many did you win, if because there's not always going to be competition. You hope that there never is.
That's the hope.
You can tell them to cancel the rest of the appointments after they read your credibility package. Just say,
Yeah. So for me, we're meeting these people to market their home. So that's why I want my marketing materials to be so dialed in, because I'm showing you, like, this is my marketing. Look how I'm presenting myself. This is how I'm going to present your home.
100%.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, we're marketing their home. So if our marketing materials are bland and boring, we're not making a very good first impression.
100%. Does anyone have any questions for Ben about his credibility packet? Other than everybody wants it. They want to see it.
What program did you use to create this package, Ben?
Well, the actual package was a local designer,
Okay.
and I could certainly connect anyone with her. The email that I send out prior to with the video, and that includes the packet, we use a program called Flowdesk.
Yep.
It just
Can
gives
you
you
show that real quick? to the
This is
photo?
it. Can
Oh,
you
that's
guys-
it. That's it. It's right there. There it is.
Yep, that's right
Yep.
here. So this is the email that they receive. And here's the video. I don't know if you want me to play the video, but.
Yeah, sure.
I've got
Yeah,
about
but you're gonna have to go back,
Oh, yeah.
unshare, and then
That's
put in
okay.
this sound, if you want to do that real quick.
I think it opens in the same window. So let me give it a shot.
Hi there, this is Ben,
Oh.
and I'm looking forward to meeting with you. I do understand the stress of selling a house is enough to make anyone feel overwhelmed. And the home selling process itself can be unexpectedly emotional. But rest assured, myself and my team are extremely good at anticipating and mitigating problematic situations before they even arise. It's a strength that I've developed over years in this industry, and also as a result of helping hundreds of families through the home selling process. Here's what you can expect when I arrive at your house. Please plan for roughly 45 minutes to an hour, and also make sure that both decision makers are present for our appointments. First, we'll just review the property, and we'll be walking through the property with a buyer's eyes. Next, we'll sit down and I'll ask you a series of questions, and that's so that I can understand your goals and your expectations. Next, we'll discuss the maximum home value assessment. During that time, I'll be giving you a working checklist and showing you small and inexpensive improvements and repairs that you can make to the property to increase the home's value. Then I'll present you with a professional equity assessment report, also known as a PAIR. At that time, you'll be able to see exactly how much equity you have in your home. And finally, we will develop a personalized strategy just for you based on your specific needs and your specific goals.
So we just rolled that video out like a week ago. So we're
That's
not.
awesome.
It's really good. Bren doesn't use the word CMA or listing presentation or listing appointment, right? You've got other
Right.
verbiage.
I don't. So we, let me see. I use some of these these are the catchphrases and phrases and terms that I've taught to my agents who are now moving up to listing agents after being with me for about 6 months. But we use the term maximum home value assessment quite a bit. And that includes actual repairs or improvements that they could make. And we have all kinds of checklists to working checklists that are interactive PDFs. So that's part of the home value assessment. And then we also use the PAIR. The PAIR is the professional equity assessment report, which is just a seller net sheet. So I'm just taking basic things. So CMA is now this maximum home value assessment. A seller net sheet is now a professional equity assessment report. I'm just kind of dressing things up. And the reason why I have these is when I'm on the phone with people and they're doing everything and saying everything that they can to not meet with me. I'm saying, well, listen, I know you're not looking to sell anytime soon, and I'm not here to have you list your house next week. I'm going to show up without listing docs in hand, no contracts. I'm simply want to offer you some value. So I know you're 6 months out. So I'm going to be in your area Tuesday at 4 or Thursday at 6. And I can give you this maximum home value assessment with just 20 minutes of your time. And at that time, I can also give you that professional equity assessment report. And that way kind of, we can formulate a game plan, even though you're 6 months down the road. We have to know where we're going now, so that you can come up with the best possible plan and again, get you the most money 6 months from now. And that's why we have these phrases and terms, because they're items of value to people. And it's to get our foot in the door and get that first face-to-face, because we know if we can get that first face-to-face, the likelihood of us getting them to the closing table goes up tenfold.
I love it.
And
I
then
love,
Go ahead.
because the average person doesn't know what you bust out. Yeah, I have a CMA, and they were like, what is that? And the fact that you've worded it in another way really helps.
Well, it's more about their home.
Well,
like
if you
their
were a
home
seller,
value.
would you rather have somebody come by and give you a CMA or a maximum home value assessment?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah, so
What do
you're
you guys
doing
think?
these even, and like by not using the word listing appointment too, because then they think, oh, he's coming by to sign a contract. No, you're coming by to give them their
Yeah,
maximum home value
Strategy
assessment,
session,
right?
yeah.
yeah, and
Smart.
I never use the word listing appointment. It's always strategy session.
I love it.
We're simply, we're having a conversation. We're identifying your needs and your goals, and then we're developing a strategy. And we don't care if you're listing a month from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. We want to help you. We want to hold your hand through that time frame.
Yep, 100%. Yeah,
That's
John
fantastic.
says again, gonna get on the phone with this graphics guy. Rachel says such great info. And John again says we could use the same assets with High Note. Absolutely, we could.
Mhm.
Use the same information and put it in just a different format to send out. John's looking for your video script. So we'll make sure we have Ben reach out to whoever's, however we can get the information. Lee, would we put it in the group or how would we do that?
We'll put it in the group, and then we'll have people reach out directly to Ben as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sounds good. Okay, awesome. Well, that's the kind of the front end, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah. So
credibility packet.
I'm really big on systems. So like we have it dialed in. So if myself or one of our agents has a good conversation, I've got a good conversation email that comes out of Flowdesk too with a separate script. And I'm not going to play it here, but I have the script for it. And so we send them an email if we have a good conversation. We immediately connect with them on social media. We apply the appropriate follow-up tasks. This is probably not going to make a whole lot of sense to too many people, but we use HomeBot, we use YLOPO. So we're doing a heat map and we're doing a HomeBot report. I always text people my VCF card from my cell phone and ask them to save it in their phone. And then everyone gets a thank you card. And we use AM cards for that. It connects right to our CRM and it's two clicks of a button and a thank you card is sent. So we're really big on thank you cards as well.
So
this
you
is-
send a thank you card for someone who just talks with you. So
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah,
gets a
at
card.
what
That's
point,
great.
you said
Good,
good conversation.
a good conversation.
Good
Not someone
conversation.
that, someone that says, I'm still 3 months out, I don't really want to meet with you right now. And we can't convince them of the value of meeting now. But, and then we'll ask them, well, yeah, okay, cool. Is it okay if we just, if we call you monthly or call you biweekly? And if they say, yeah, then I'm sending that thank you card immediately. Anyone that I'm following up with, I want to have a thank you card.
I love it.
And then we have our pre-appointment activities. So again, we'll send that email with the credibility packet. The morning of the appointment, I record a short video, personalized. So, hey, Jack, it's Ben. Good morning. Just want to remind you about our appointment at 2 p.m. I'm looking forward to meeting with you. I'll see you at 2.
Love it.
I don't like confirming appointments via phone call because it gives them an opportunity to cancel. So I like the video and it just says, I'm reminding you, I'll be there at this time.
Are you sending that in a text?
It's a text. Yeah.
video?
Through our CRM, we can record a little
Yeah.
15-20 second video and just text it out real quick.
Mhm.
Then, sometimes we'll stalk them on social media just to get an idea of who they are,
I always do that.
generate a seller report, and then get ready with the valuation. And then we've got the appointment itself, get there 15 minutes early so that you're never late. Because if you're ever late for that listing appointment, you're not getting it. I like to mentally prepare, maybe run some affirmations, drive around the neighborhood, just kind of get in the zone. Listen to a song that gets you pumped up, anything. I don't know. Sounds corny, but
That's not corny at all.
No, not
kind
at
of
all.
process. Shoot a promo video in the front yard before you even knock. So just out front, hey, this is which I'm really bad at this, but I make my agents do it. I never do
Don't
it.
practice what you preach on that one.
Yeah. But the premise behind this is, listen, you haven't hired us yet, but we're already starting to market your home on our social
That
media.
makes sense. I love that.
Like when they open the door, take a big step backwards, immediately say we had an appointment at 2 p.m. and it's 1:58. You're telling them listen, I'm punctual. I do what I say I'm gonna do. I showed up on time. Do the quick tour of the home with the buyer's eyes, snap photos. And there's a reason for that too, but we're doing it to make their working checklist of things that they could improve or repair. But while you're snapping these photos, that you're implying that you're being hired that whole way through. It's just implied. Sit down at the table, run 10 minutes of the very important discovery questions and dig very deep. And then at that point, you have two choices. You can either move, if their motivation is there, move right into the listing presentation. If they're 6 months out and you don't think you're going to sign them, I don't move through the listing presentation if I'm just offering as much value. So at that point, I'm offering the maximum home value, the professional equity assessment report, and I'm just trying to be of as much value as I can possibly be to them, and then get them in my follow-up. And then we run through some of our USPs and UVPs. We've got Ready, Set, Sell, professional house cleaning, we have a cash offer program, easy exit, communication guarantee. Then we do our commission menu, then our pricing strategy. And then we do a trial close. So I'll usually ask, what day and time is best for photos before I'm hired, just to see if they'll bite on it, or the staging consult. And if they bite on it, then I know I can close them.
Mhm.
And then I sign the easiest docs first and always finish with the agreement.
Same.
And then room dimensions, lockbox, and on my way.
I love it.
So you're asking all those probing questions to find out where they're at, and based on that, you're either going to go to your listing presentation or go to the home value and the pair.
Yeah, so the questions are specifically designed, number one, to find that motivation, find that pain point. But there's a lot of questions about agents and expectations. So I'm also finding out all of the answers to later close them when they give me resistance. So every objection that I know is going to come when it's time to sign docs, we're getting the answers to combat those objections through our discovery session, which it should be no less than 10 minutes.
Will you take a discounted listing, less than 3%? Because that's the biggest objection you're going to get probably. So-and-so will do it for 2.
Yeah, so
I know you have your tiered.
I'll battle it quite a bit, but I'll just say this, I like to do volume. So if it makes sense.
Yeah, if it means losing it, if they're just so hell bent on it. If you don't, someone else will. They can't see the value in what you can provide. Some people are so stuck on that commission.
I've been
number.
blessed enough to get a lot of 5s, 6s, 7s too. And,
Yeah,
2% of 700 is not a bad
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn that away.
take. On those lower ends ones though, like the $150,000 ones, I will not, because for me,
No.
I'm looking more at the average commission.
Yeah, 100%. Depends on the price point, right?
Yeah. I don't really
John-
want to work for less than 6,000 or 7,500.
100%. John's asking that he assumes, Ben, that you have different email, video, text follow-up campaigns for your hot, warm, cold. Do you have that set up in your CRM based on like how far out they are?
Yeah, we do. So we recently did something as the team that I think made everybody's life a whole lot easier. So we do have our automations that are doing text and email. But as far as our phone calls, we used to set all these tasks in our CRM and follow up. And now we just, every Monday, we call our A's. Every 8th and 22nd, we call all of our B's. Once a month, we call all of our C's. Once a month, we call our past clients and SOI. And so when that day, we know everyone in that stage that we're calling, and we're not setting a million reminder tasks anymore. It's
know.
really,
That's the
it's
worst
really
part about
simplified our
CRM.
life quite a bit.
Yeah.
Does everyone here know what the A's, B's, and C's are? If you want an explanation of that, just raise your hand. Anybody? I mean, so I'll just give a quick up. Now, of course, Nicole, you raised your hand. So A's are like Zillow, like people that are ready to go right now. Like they're hot leads, people that have reached out, answered a Google, one of your Google ads, looking specifically to see a house. So those people are like ready to go. B leads would be people that are nurturing, that are like 3 to 6 months, like Z buyer leads, things like that. So things that still need some nurturing. And then the 12 months, the C leads would be more like a Facebook ad where they just clicked on a property, or geo leads. We do a lot of, all of our agents, when they sign up to work with us, we set them up with geo leads and zip codes that they want to market to. And those are, more like they're C leads. So they're like 9 to 12 month time frame before they come around. And what will happen is a C buyer will turn into a B buyer, which will eventually turn into an A buyer. So Ben focuses, you said twice a month on the A buyers?
No, so we leave everyone in a lead stage until there's a conversation that's had.
Okay.
And based on that conversation, we then say, do we want to talk to this person once per week? Do we want to talk to this person once every other week? Or do we want to talk to this person once per month based on what they told us?
Got it.
So our weekly follow-ups are A's, our biweekly are B's, and our monthly are C.
Okay.
Do you categorize them the same as what Lee mentioned, or do you do strictly on like time frame of when they're willing, ready to? Well, I guess, are we talking
Yeah,
about listing
It's
leads?
based strictly on the conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think about the buckets, right? So our Zillow and Realtor.com leads are definitely most likely A people. And our Facebook leads are most likely C people, but we leave them in the lead stage, no matter what they are, until a conversation is had and we've identified how much follow-up they need at that time, if that makes sense.
But then once you do that, do you use ABC in your CRM, or do you call them something else?
No, we use ABC.
You do?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, we
based
use
on
ABC.
the monthly, the twice monthly, or the weekly?
Yep.
Weeklies.
Yeah, and you can flip flop. Like I might talk
Yeah.
to this person this week and they're like, man, I want to buy a house like as soon as I can find one. So I stage them as an A. And then I call them next week and they're like, oh, I just got laid off.
Mhm.
So now they're a C. I just want to talk to them every once a month.
So it's just
So
really based on how often you're talking to them, based on what
how often you want to talk to them,
want.
how you stage them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very good. Okay, so you've got your whole appointment lined up, and hopefully anything else, you got the appointment there. So go into this stuff. Here's your tiered commission. I want to see that closer.
Yeah, so here's just some of the examples of some of our marketing materials. So this is our yard sign. We use the buy this house, we'll sell yours for free. We have an answering service, so calls are getting answered 24 hours a day.
Tell me about selling yours for free.
Yeah, so if they buy the house that we list, we'll give them the 5% listing for free. This is just to let you know, this rarely ever happens. So, but when it does, we would do the 5% for free, and then we just try and upsell them to make a little bit of money on it. But we're double dipping this listing because they bought our listing. So it doesn't really matter to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We've got our safe sell program, one of our programs. Like I said, we have a cash offer program as well. A few other different programs. And then this is our tiered commission structure. It goes between 5% and 8%.
8%.
And then
Explain the 8%, because we talked about this earlier, and Ben does something unique that
Yeah, I like this.
that not many people around do. So why don't you
Yeah,
explain?
so if you've heard of like Curbio, for instance, they do their national company, they do pre-sale renovations. But Curbio is not in Michigan. So we've kind of identified that and said, okay, there's people love this Curbio program, but it's not here in Michigan. So it's pre-sale renovation if it makes sense. And if there's enough equity in the home and the seller absolutely needs to sell, we'll actually front the money and we'll make repairs to the property. And maybe their $250,000 listing is now a $350,000 listing because of all the renovations. And so it's our contractors only. It's our contractors only. There are some stipulations on it, but it is available, and mostly just to get the phone to ring. People want to get people to inquire about it more than anything.
But then you'll charge the 8% instead of the 6%,
Exactly.
but you're not charging for any of the rent of the, like the money. There's no
There's
like
no
loan
interest.
for the money.
Yeah,
or-
there's no interest on it. There's no interest on the loan. Yeah, it's basically a no fee, no interest.
Which, if I was a seller and I didn't have the money to make improvements, that's a no brainer for me.
Mm-hmm. And then here's some of our other marketing materials. Like I said, just an example, because people are hiring us to market their homes. So in my mind, I feel like we better have our marketing materials pretty dialed in, and they better look pretty nice. And then our post appointment activities, whether we take the listing or if it needs more follow-up, if you'll notice, thank you card either way. We do have these working checklists for them. In our 7% listing, we pay for a staging console and professional house cleaning as well. So we're getting those set up too.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, cool. Questions?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. Hey, Ben and Lee,
Hey.
everyone. Sorry, my camera's not coming on for some reason with maybe up here in Canada, too much snow or whatever.
Ask away, John. Did he just get disconnected?
He might have.
Hey, Ben, this is Bruce Green.
Hey, Bruce.
Figure I'd step in real quick just in case. What I liked about your presentation is from start to ending, it's all about setting expectations of what you're going to do, and gives you opportunities throughout that presentation to meet those expectations up front, right?
Correct. Yep.
So you've got no like as you're sending that free, and then by the end of your presentation, you have trust.
Yeah.
It really, it's very, very impressive. How
Well,
much,
thank you.
how much does the team support your deliverables? So because you have a team, you're able to offer more polished, better deliverables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I have Sarah is my right hand, and she's inputting all my listings. She's drafting listing documents for me. She's doing all the TC for me, the transaction creation stuff.
Hey,
So-
Ann, can you mute yourself,
I
please?
just did.
So fortunately for me, I have a lot of support and a lot of help to be able to kind of cruise through a lot of this. But it is definitely doable if you're a newer agent. I was doing a lot of this stuff before I had support. I was
Right.
just waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. every morning to get 3 hours worth of administrative out of the way before the phone started ringing.
Thank you.
Oh, there's John. He got knocked out, but he's back in right now. He's just rejoining. John, are you back with us?
I am sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's what happens when you don't have your computer on your plugged in right away. All right, sorry. So as I was trying to say before I cut you off, thanks, Lee. So I just want to ask Ben, and thanks, Ben. What's the program or Curbio? Is it up in Canada? Do you know?
Oh, I'm not sure, but if you just Google Curbio,
Okay.
you'll be able to see what areas they service. And it'd be a huge value add for your clients if they do in fact
Okay.
offer service in your area. There's another
Okay.
company that does it too, and I believe it's called Revive maybe.
Gotcha. Thanks, bud. That's a great idea.
Pre-sale renovation. Both are pre-sale renovation.
Appreciate it. I'm pumped to get my presentation look here. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Pumped to get it looking like you. Thanks.
Yeah.
And John, Ben does a lot with Isaiah Colton as well too. So
Right.
so I think
yeah.
a lot of his
Definitely
stuff
connected,
is,
you know, Lee and Ben.
yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. Sorry about the bad reception up here. See what happens when I'm north of the border with all this snow?
Yeah. How much snow do you have on the ground up there?
About 2 feet out here on the lake right now.
Okay, there's none here. There's it pretty much all melted the last couple days.
Or you've got your lawnmower out, right? Yeah, thanks.
It's getting ready, but I just got back from Cabo. A bunch of us were in Cabo last week, so it was hard to come back to the cold.
I saw that, man. Well, thanks for hosting this. Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Anybody have any questions? Now's your chance. I mean, Ben's a busy guy and he took time out of his day to be with us. So fire away.
I do actually, if you have a moment. Thank you for the invite, by the way. Ben,
You're welcome.
you're like a little genius. Who did you say helped you with this?
Well, so I had a local designer design everything, but the content I just put it together myself.
Oh, that brain of yours. Okay, I like it. Well, thank you so much for sharing. This is awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, if anyone wants the designer's number, let me know. More than happy to pass her name.
That would be fantastic. Yes, I would love to not do the same thing, of course, but something
Sure.
similar.
Any last questions? Is your last chance.
Lee, how can we let everyone, if they do have follow-up, what should people do if they want to, get in contact with Ben?
Yeah, Ben, do you want to put your contact information in the,
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
chat?
We're gonna get Ben.
That'd be a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Put your email in there or something. Because we could talk about this all for days for sure. You've put a lot of time and effort into it, and I know everyone's going to want to create their own, but the content's so good, things that I wouldn't have thought of including. You're gonna let me start my video now, Lee? You got mad because I took a phone call.
Yeah, I put my cell phone number, the company email, and the website.
Yeah, you got a great website too. Good stuff on there too.
Thanks.
Last
chance, anybody? Do I need
think
to call
everyone's
on people?
overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed a little bit. So I go
So-
back and
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I'm really thankful for our friendship that we built. And I'm looking forward to solidifying that even more in the future. And I think that I did talk with Isaiah, just so you know, I talked with Isaiah last week and he said he wanted to have do an event and have you be one of the guest speakers. He wanted to come to Michigan and do that. So
Yeah.
we're going to plan that. That's one thing I want to plan with you over the next few days as well. So I'm excited about that
Let's
too.
definitely do that. I want to do that
Good.
for sure. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of another episode of the Modern Agent Blueprint. And
what do we have
We
next
will
week,
s-
Lee? What do we have next week?
next week, Let's
Next
see.
week, we have Katie Caldwell from Hustle Humbly.
Hustle, yeah,
Oh,
hustle humbly.
So that's gonna
That'll
be a
be
good
good.
one.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks,
Well,
guys,
thank
for
you,
joining
everybody.
us.
Great.
All right,
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much.
Bye now.
Thanks much, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.